Run, something inside him said. Run. The great crushing thing, the great cylinder, had stopped. Perhaps it was safe here for a little while. How quickly it learned to use its legs and its trunk. But these things were not so much learned as they were remembered. Perhaps the little Trebhum thought they were a gift from the strange voice it heard in its mind. That too was a kind of memory. Just when it was starting to get used to its legs, the food from the jumping creature gave it new ones. With the right substance as a catalyst, a Trebhum can transform and adapt to many challenges. Surrounded by this light, the Trebhum knew things it had not known before. It knew the older Trebhum had carried this light for a long, long time, and it knew that now that responsibility had passed to the next generation. Yes, this young Trebhum had to carry the light to those great towers in the distance. It could have stayed here to learn many old things, but the cylinder would not allow it. Run, the inner voice said, run. The towers would not stop the cylinder unless they were activated. Quickly, the Trebhum had to step on the symbol or the cylinder would not be stopped. The voice inside the Trebhum's memories assured it that while the tower stood, the Trebhum would be safe. The power of the eternal cylinder was contained for now. This door had been built for Trebhum. It gave them hope that in this large and dangerous world, some places had been made for them. Luckily, It seemed a wise and powerful Trebhum had passed through here some time ago. Somehow this ancient statue transferred knowledge to the Trebhum. It was as if a memory had been stored inside it, waiting for someone to absorb it. And as soon as this knowledge had entered their minds, the Trebhum realized that there was a great library of information hidden away in the web of their memories. But why was the knowledge of a specific ingredient placed here in this Trebhum made of stone? Inside the cave, the Trebhum found a living elder. It had been waiting in this chamber for a long, long time. The elder told them it was happy to see some friends before the cylinder came. It said, "You are young, so you never knew the time when our people could shapeshift at will. We Trebhum are inheritors of a vast tree of abilities, abilities passed on to all future Trebhum. But this power is being taken away. Beware the servants of the cylinder. They will seek to hurt you at every opportunity, and they have the power to rob you of your abilities. But if you persevere, one day you will find a way to protect yourselves from their evil light. Farewell, my brave friends. I fear I am too old and tired to join you. May you find a way to prosper in this time of struggles." It was not easy to leave the cave, but the elder had urged them to go forward. Suddenly they felt the weight of their many tasks, to find their Trebhum siblings, to restore the powers their people had lost, and it all seemed a little daunting. But even when they are afraid, Trebhum are stubborn. The cylinder resumed its destruction. Nothing. They needed to roll to safety, to find another tower to protect them quickly. The Trebhum found themselves almost as lost as they had been in the beginning. But the voice in their memories comforted them. It was only natural to be confused, it said. They had been born into a strange, broken world, cut off from the history of their ancestors. Everyone was a little lost these days. What mattered was to keep going, to keep looking for answers, to keep carrying the light they held within them, the light that stopped the cylinder. In In this strange, eerie temple, the Trebhum felt something stir in their memories. There was a great power in this place. Something from the days when even the elders were young. Perhaps it could help them. The Trebhum were disoriented for a moment. Something new had entered their memories and they needed to make sense of it. It seemed to be a map. And on this map, a location had been marked. If they understood correctly, there was some manner of serpent, a guardian, a greater being of some kind, somehow linked to a safe haven. Could they find refuge there? Their ancestors must have created this map for a reason. What manner of strange beast lurked behind the cylinder? The Trebhum were deeply unsettled by this new mystery. But though some part of them was curious, they were certain it would be best not to find out. What manner of strange beast lurked behind the cylinder? The Trebhum were deeply unsettled by this new mystery. But though some part of them was curious, they were certain it would be best not to find out. As their fear faded, the Trebhum started feeling weak and tired. With all the excitement and adventure, they'd neglected their most basic needs. The sound of an empty stomach reminded them that survival requires more than escaping from danger. You also have to eat. Luckily, one of the many gifts of the Trebhum is the capacity to store food in their bodies. But they still need to digest it to gain the vital energy that gives them strength. And for such small creatures, they do require rather a lot of food. Fortunately, the savannah was rich in flora and fauna which would satisfy their little bellies without necessarily triggering a mutation. trapped on all sides by deep pools of poisonous gas, the Trebhum needed to find a way to escape this monstrosity. Perhaps there was a way to use the creature's own weight to lower the bridge? One by one, the yellow light cruelly burned away the Trebhum's abilities. The Elder had warned them about the evil light of the Cylinder's servants. Now they knew what kind of creature to avoid. As frightening and surprising as this enormous creature was, the Trebhum felt a sense of relief to see it descend from the sky. This was the celestial being they'd been told to seek. Perhaps it held an answer to their troubles. As they approached the colossal creature, their optimism faded. It did not seem to like them at all. And now they realized what terrible danger they were in. If this creature guarded the way to some holy place, then that place must lie below it. And being so large, the creature most likely could not see what was in front of it, or beneath it. So perhaps the size of the Trebhum was an advantage after all. Perhaps they could reach the platform right under the serpent's head. Relieved at having bested the Guardian, the Trebhum now found themselves seeking the help they had been promised. Who would answer their questions in this place? Encountering another elder was a happy moment. The Trebhum asked how they might survive the cylinder, and the elder replied, "I can feel your fear, little ones. Ever since this cataclysm began, we have been seeking ways to stop it. But the cylinder is relentless and indestructible. It will consume everything in its path. So, perhaps what we need to do is go behind it. I have discovered a mutation that allows us to rise into the sky. You must seek a weeping tree from which grows a special fruit that floats as it becomes ripe. It is the key to the transformation I have undergone. With it, you can use geysers to float well above the cylinder's height. My only regret is that I have grown too old and weak to help you with this task. If you find any glimmer of hope on the other side, remember me. Farewell." Sadness and fear filled the Trebhum's hearts as they left the Elder's cave. Their only path to salvation was full of uncertainty, and they could not forget the thing they had seen lurking behind the cylinder, casting a dark shadow over this glimpse of light. The Trebhum had never seen this mysterious tree the Elder spoke of. They would have to keep moving forward and hope it lay somewhere ahead. The cylinder would give them no other choice. were still nowhere near the mysterious tree they were supposed to find. But the voice in their memories encouraged them. It was wise in matters of root and rock, and it could sense the soil under their feet changing. Step by step, they were getting closer. They were still nowhere near the mysterious tree they were supposed to find. But the voice in their memories encouraged them. It was wise in matters of root and rock, and it could sense the soil under their feet changing. Step by step, they were getting closer. What was this monstrous creature? Was this one of the Cylinder servants? The ones the Elder had warned them of? Its very form terrified the Trebhum. Even the voice and their memories seemed frightened of it. And then, somehow, the Trebhum remembered the creature's name. It was called the Mathematician. The mathematician vanished as quickly as he had appeared, back to... to what? What lay behind the cylinder? Finally, the weeping trees that the Elder had told them to find were within the Trebham's grasp. But though the Trebham were happy, they realized that they faced a new challenge. The ripe fruit were floating out of reach, and the others were enclosed in a hard shell. They would have to find a way to crack them open. In the dream inside the strange giant's mind, the voice that spoke to the Trebhum seemed different. It was less like a memory, more like something alive. But there were so many other voices too, lost in this place.
I remember the mountains of my home, the vast forests, the clouds hanging low overhead, the cities in the valleys where the rivers ran. I remember the faces of my children and the songs we sang when the stars rose high. But I have forgotten the names of all these things, and slowly one melts into the other. My children will become mountains, the forests will become songs, and then all will become one and be nothing.
There was something hidden in this place, and the voice wanted the Trebhum to find it.
I remember a city built in the desert in defiance of thirst. When night fell, it shone like a jewel, and even the stars envied its brightness. Poets and scientists gathered from around the world, and its great observatories scoured the sky for wisdom and beauty. That is where we first saw the new star.
Each voice was a memory, a song from a forgotten time, slowly fading. But some of these memories were Trebhum memories, memories of things that Trebhum had once been capable of. Perhaps, the voice suggested, these could be reclaimed.
I remember how our towers stretched out to the sky, yearning for the stars. They were symbols of our best and our worst. I remember our voices echoing in the canyons as we fought for change, for a world that was different. Then it came, and the towers fell, and there was no more difference. Where are our voices now? Where are our songs? I only hear one, and it is eternal.
As the memories returned to the Trebhum, old abilities, stolen by the cylinder, were finally restored. But there was so much more. The voice had answers, but it was weakening. Frightening as it was, the Trebhum would have to come back. This was a place of death and nothingness. There were no answers to be found here. The voice and their memories urged them to return to the lands of the living. A profound feeling of futility